explosion at all. So what eventually happened here is I had to start hiring people. So Jim Wendler was the next person I brought in, and then my wife lost her job. She got unemployed. Now we had a problem. All right, so now she had to start working for me. So my desk was here. Hers was like right here in the same room. Big problem. Don't want to do that. No. Now, if you look at the offices, she's on the other side of the building to where I am. But we had to learn how to manage it, and there were a lot of fights, there were a lot of struggles, there were a lot of things that had to be figured out, especially when it's a husband and wife relationship. Because if you do have your own business, it's not like at 5 o'clock you shut the door and it's gone. It's never gone. It becomes who you are. Okay? And that's just the way it is. Her experience was in office management. I'm the only employee. Who's she going to manage? Me. So she was doing a lot of the accounting, bookkeeping, QuickBooks, all that other kind of stuff. I was doing the networking, packaging, seminars, all that kind of stuff. But there was no real organization behind it at that time. Meanwhile, I was still doing the E-Myth stuff. We had to expand. We had to start hiring other people. And every time you hire somebody when you're that small, it is a giant decision. Because once again, it came down to, am I going to pay myself? Because automatically, we had to replace her salary. All right, we had to do that. Or at least we had to pay enough to pay our bills. And that's pretty much what it was. And then we hired Jim, and then Chris came along. So we had to expand. So the office came all the way into here. The weight room moved over to this building, which I picked up for like a whopping $200 extra a month. By the way, the building was empty for like 8 years before I got there, and I took that picture there yesterday, 2 days ago. It's been vacant since we left. Okay, I could have got a better deal than what I did. But eventually we ended up to the point where the warehouse grew, the inventory grew, personnel grew, the weight room, we had to do something with it. We had to move again. And while I was there, one of the most important business lessons I can throw out from a system standpoint, and my seminar is going to be a little choppy in places because I'm trying to explain things I learned during different phases before I get into the actual core of what I want to speak about. Position statements. Biggest thing I learned that I think helped me from the very beginning is I wrote position statements. I did a 5-year organizational chart. What I thought the company would look like in 5 years. How many employees would there be? There were, I think, 20 employees or 20 roles. Warehouse, sales, marketing, accounting, CEO, office manager, secretary. And then I wrote position statements for every one individually. Okay? Then I sat down with the staff that we had, which at the time was Chris, Jim, myself, and Tracy. Everybody got a stack of position statements. Not one, a stack. These are your positions. I think Matt Bash was probably with us then at the time too. And everybody signed it. All right. The reason I did that, and this wasn't through the E-Myth. The E-Myth told me to have position statements. All right. I thought of, let's have people do multiple position statements, and they actually my consultant disagreed with me on that. But I'll tell you why I did it. The reason I did it is I knew we were going to grow, and I knew positions were going to have to come off people and go to other people. What I've seen in other companies and other places that I've worked for is, say you may be the head trainer and sales guy at a club. All right? Now your clientele is getting up really high, but you can't really sell. Okay? And now we got the revenue. I have to decide, who am I going to hire? All right? Am I going to hire a sales guy or a new trainer? All right? But you love training. So basically, I could sit you down and say, here's 2 position statements. Totally your choice. What do you want to do? Do you want to do sales, or do you want to be the head trainer? And you're going to look at this one, and you're going to look at this one, and I'd say, now you got to understand one thing. When you push this statement out, everything on there is gone. It's not like you can keep this little piece. All right, if you're going to be sales, you're not going to be able to keep this one client. It's gone. You're no longer a part of that role. That is a part of that role. You tell me what you want to do. All right, that allows me to be able to take the other one that they don't choose and present that as a new employee. All right, that's the first value of that, is you don't get choppy positions where they're still doing a little bit of this one because they like it, and then they're doing this one here as well. All right, because usually the thing that they like is also the thing that the new employee wants to do the most. All right, because no job's 100% fun. Okay, 90% of the shit we deal with is to be able to do the 10% we love. All right, well, you can't just keep the 10% and have somebody else do the other 90% of crap. The second benefit to that is people and companies can and will always begin to feel invincible. Okay, that the company can't run without them. Fortunately, I've not had that happen. And I do think that some of the reason is for what I'm telling you right now. I just asked you to choose between sales or being the trainer. You know the subconscious message I just told you? I can replace you either one. You choose sales, I'm getting a new trainer. You choose trainer, I'm getting a new sales guy. You're replaceable totally. All right? Without them even knowing it, you kind of made them step back and think, ooh, okay. So whatever they do change, they're going to step up their game a little bit because they're going to kind of feel like, I got something to prove. Why didn't he come out and say, hey, you kick ass here, you do this? All right, this is proactively thinking. That was probably one of the biggest takeaways I learned during that phase. Mid-size is where I would say we are now, and it's a matter of definition. I would not say that we're mid-sized based upon employees. Employees with contractors, we're probably around 15. Probably could use 20 if we weren't in a recession. Mid-size based on revenues. Last year's gross sales were $4.5 million. Taking that from first year's revenues of $20,000, it's done okay. Been able to maintain fairly close to the same net profit margin throughout the years. We're going to try to change that a little bit now. The location that we have now, the offices are here. We occupy these two back warehouses for inventory. The weight room had to move here. Okay, so this is not where we run our business out of. Actually, the weight room used to be in the second garage door, and we had to expand our warehouses and move the weight room out. And that just happened maybe about a year or so ago, where we moved the weight room over here. And this gym, this weight room, I don't have members. I don't charge anybody anything, except I have them toss in a little bit of money for the heat, which isn't even close to what the heat bill is, by the way, which does kind of piss me off some. But this is more a showroom. This is my playroom. This is my dream. Okay? I don't want members. I don't want clients. All right? I want people that can come out on the weekend and train. I want to be able to invite our sponsor guys down and have a good time. I want to be able to have seminars. I want to be able to have, what you see. It's pretty much what I've always wanted. And, if I ever accomplish anything else, I'm cool with just whatever we need to do to maintain this, then I'm cool. That's all it is. The rent's cheap. I wanted to have a location that fit the market I like to fill the most, which is the small hardcore gym, the private personal training center, and the small sports training center. All right, universities and high schools are great. We're really going to try to push to try to do more of those. We've done a lot of those in the past as far as equipment setups. Equipment makes up about 40% of our gross revenues. All right, but what I really like are the small centers. I love them because there's more social interaction. I think there's a more closeness, and I think in the small centers, people are really changing lives. All right, because now you're dealing with the athletes that may not be the best athletes. I mean, you're dealing with kids that may not have had the best upbringing in the whole world. My own personal